All right, click the links, join channel here, over subscribe so I got a mailbox, mail me some comics. So Robert Kirkman, the Walking Dead guy, I got two of those books up on the shelf now, claims Marvel's going to race swap Sentry, the blonde-haired, blue-eyed, I don't know, Scandinavian, Northern European-looking dude with a 5'8", I don't know, 160-pound Asian Korean guy who looks nothing at all like the character, but they'll probably on social media at least attack you for being istophobic and Hugo Boss for wanting the character to look like the character. It's weird that these race swaps never go in the other direction. So Sentry and Void, but Korean. First of all, if you're familiar with this character and the potential for it, which there's a whole lot for a god level type of character, abandon all hope, ye who enter here. It's not just Marvel or DC. It's pretty much all of Hollywood by now. You gotta be aware of that. More and more people are coming to that conclusion. Marvel will make it diverse, gay, and lame, and nerf it. They'll nerf it, they'll lube it up with Astroglide and anally insert it. And of course, the character is blonde-haired, blue-eyed, so they made him black hair, black eyes. And he's a tiny little Mike Miller-sized hobbit and literally gay, so lame, diverse, and BLT. So he's perfect to play this blonde Aryan Ubermensch character. I mean, perfect in the globalist sense of subversion and corruption. If they can find a way to screw it up, they will. And there's also, well, I remember to get to this at the end of the video. There's a reason they went with Asian and not with black this time. I don't know if I want to get into it, though. So things are getting a little rough out there for Team Asian. So there was a complicated interplay with the place on the privilege ladder, with who's at the top of it, and obviously people of European descent are at the absolute bottom of it. But things are getting a little confusing with Team Asian because they think they're POCs, but other POCs have a different opinion on a lot of this kind of stuff, and it's pretty amusing to sit back and watch them just hate each other. As long as you don't speak up, because then they'll try to shift the hatred to you. It's just fascinating. Anyway, so this movie is like more every day. YouTube videos get worse and harder to make because I just want to Anyway, this movie is going to do worse than Shang-Chi because that was an Asian movie made with Asian characters for that audience, but the movie didn't even break even. It cost like $150 million in the advertising. I think it made like 430, so I don't think it quite crossed over into profitability because there's no interest in the actors. Either one of the main actors, that woman, that chick who's some kind of rapper, but she's like uses a black accent or something, like Ebonics or something like this to be, I don't know, something silly. And then the male actor is the guy who insulted Nicki Minaj. Like, he didn't understand how serious her fandom is. And she's a very popular, very talented rapper. And he's like, he doesn't know the way of the world. He's a weird guy. But apparently they're setting that up to make a sequel to a movie that lost, probably say the movie lost $10 million. You're like, yeah, so you're going to follow that up with a sequel, huh? You're going to bring something new to the table? Anyway, so there's no interest in that story. And this movie's going to do even worse because it's a race swap character, and it's the worst race swap direction that you could possibly go. Because if you had to rank interest in actors, blonde-haired, blue-eyed Scandinavian ones are going to be at the top, and this guy's probably going to be at the bottom. It's just marketing research. It's not just me saying this. It's how the numbers play out, and Hollywood knows that. Disney knows that, and they don't care. The movies are not made to make money. There's a reason. I mean, you look at this character, you're like, oh, this is some Ubermensch stereotype. Marketed to a Western audience. There's a reason they made the character, I don't know when they created him, 20 years ago or something. There's a reason they made him like this. Like, oh yeah, why didn't they make him Korean to start with? It would look at you like, because the comic wouldn't have sold? Oh, so then why are you making a movie with a Korean? It's like, that's a pretty small market, at least domestically. Yes. And I mean, they just look at you like, these people are out of their mind. Like, the ones at the top know what they're doing. They're all globalists. And the ones in the middle are just a paycheck, and there's a lot of pharmaceutical marching powder involved in there. So this is all part of the humiliation ritual for a conquered people, where they'll destroy everything fun in front of you, and that's all this stuff is. It's just fun, stupid movie. And there's, like, the more I think about comic books, the more I want to do like a longer video on how it was always kind of subversive right from the start. But I will say that fewer people care what the vermin in Hollywood are doing. This isn't 2008 when Iron Man came out. What a fun, simple movie that was with Robert Downey Jr. For what it was, they did a great job. And that got people excited to come back into this genre. Or 5 years ago when it seemed to peak, comic book movies seem, I mean, they definitely peaked. They're on their very much on the downward slope because I think they deleted half the characters, so you're gonna have a rough time with that. So it's comic books are now the movies now are kind of, and the books, the comics themselves anyway, are kind of more associated with a Coomer, soy boy, panty sniffing, left wing kind of pussy thing, because those are the soy boys on social media who defend these multi-billion-dollar industries because they know it's a left versus right wing thing, but the right isn't even fighting this stuff. It's just they're dipping out of these movies, and comic books barely sell anyway. I mean, if you want comics, you'll just buy Comic Gate or other independent projects. It's become, these movies are just a bread and circuses type of vibe where they want you to stay distracted with these nut jobs and spandex. It's the suspension of disbelief. It only worked for a little while, and it's pretty much over now. And the movies suck. It feels like this genre is going to have to go in a different direction if they want to start getting a return on their investment, because they're like these kids defend them all the time, but you just look at the numbers, you're like, yeah, these movies went from making less and less to breaking even to starting to lose money. Like, yes, they made a lot of money in the beginning, but now it's the law of averages. It's like they're going to have to go in a different direction with this. Because as for like Marvel peaking, when's DC going to peak? Because the longer all this girl power, race swapping, anti-white cancer goes on, the more obvious it gets. They don't love diversity. They just hate you and your people, assuming you look like me. They don't even care about making money. So they'll take this movie, do it for $150 million, and say it'll make 400 in that $400 million range. And it breaks even or it loses $20 million. And then they'll pat themselves on the back talking about how proud they are to have representation, inclusion, storytelling, and a lot of anal lube. But the audience is clearly the problem for wanting a blonde-haired, blue-eyed character to stay in character, because that's what the effing character is. Hollywood believes in removing the European characters and replacing them with non-whites, but the audience isn't paying for it. At some point, it becomes obvious that this is a religion to these people. It's okay to tell these Hollywood parasites that we value the original characters. Why on earth would we want to see them swap out this blonde giant European dude for a little Asian guy? That's not the character. If you wanted that Asian character, why didn't you just originally create the Korean character or create a new Korean character, or Asian character in general? See if it finds an audience. If you start selling comics with it, wait a few years, wait a decade, see if there's an organic following for it. And then if there is, you make a movie, and they look at you like, yeah, we're not going to do that. Because they know there's problem. I mean, it's trying to start a new comic within DC or Marvel now. That ship has sailed. It's completely over. They're not going to create a new character that catches on. Anyway, so if you wanted, I'm trying to think of like maybe Deadpool years ago, but that was a while ago. So if you wanted an Asian, and the thing is, they can't even write Deadpool well because they're such left-wing globalist, politically correct, that it's just stupid. It's just like, it's supposed to be an un-PC character written by PC people. There's no way to do it. It just falls in on itself. It's just this pseudo edgy. It's Always Sunny in South Park. It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia type of pseudo edginess where they're just going after the safe jokes, and it just gets worse and worse over the years. Anyway, so yeah, they didn't want an Asian character. That's why they didn't create one. Because the blonde character already did the heavy lifting for them. The character that the fans identified with, well, they just erased him and replaced him. They're hoping that you'll still go see the movie because you're vaguely familiar. I mean, for the people that are familiar with the Sentry. Well, I mean, if they're familiar with the Hulk a little bit more, I guess it could tie into that movie. What's that? The Red Hulk, the General, what's his face? So why would they disrespect the fans this way? Because they don't care about the character or the customers. You're just sheep to them. You're just wallets. And the only point of Disney and Hollywood in general is to portray the European in a negative light. It's $1 trillion propaganda machine. You can be honest and say you value the blonde character, or blonde-haired, blue-eyed, European-looking dude is not Asian. because humans are not fungible. And the filthy commies in Hollywood don't really believe that you can that they are fungible, because the race swapping only goes in one direction. They don't believe in any of this stupid Frankfurt School nonsense that they spout. They're just anti-European. It's so insulting to see how much they hate us, and then simultaneously they expect us to support them. We don't value the things they value because they're lizard people making movies for coomers who must consume the next product. More dopamine, more CGI, more breastless, androgynous women must coom. What was the name of this movie? I forget. It's the Red Hulk with the general. I forget the name of the damn thing. I mean, it's nobody's going to see it. I forget what it's called. Red Hulk with. Harrison Ford's going to play that the role. Is Paul Rudd's not in it because he's playing the what's his face. And then this Kang guy, you're not going to be in anything after you got done beating up your girlfriend or your wife or something. I think he pretty much retired from Hollywood. Jonathan Major. I don't think he's not only he's not going to come back from that, but Ant-Man 3. It's like a movie that bombed because, hey, more race swapping, yay, more girl power, more lectures on. This little girl goes to a San Francisco police station and she gives some kind of like Antifa lecture for a couple of minutes. It's just. Buddy, you should have edited that right out of the frickin' movie. The only one who's good in it, Michelle Pfeiffer. I think she was the only star of the movie. She was a lot of fun in that. Anyway, like, comment, subscribe. Check out the Subscribe Star, and I will see you guys all next episode.